this week to be about you guys and focus on yourself. I mean, since guys have been able to do that.
I think so. I mean, there's not a whole lot to bring up about Oregon. I mean, I don't need to say anything. They know. And so there really hasn't been a ton of talk about that. It always comes back to us.
Even with the local kids? I mean, even with some of those guys that have experienced it, not just in college, but even at the high school level before
What do you
fans.
mean?
Just in terms of what it means to them.
I think every game means everything to all of us. I mean, we put our heart and soul in every week. It's not like we're going to prepare harder or less on any given week. And I think sometimes you can get your anxiety level all out of whack. And so it's always about having the right mindset, the right energy level. And so it'll be a great environment down there, what college football is supposed to be all about. And I think it always just focuses back to us to execute.
In terms of just feeling like maybe sometimes you're talking about maybe having to rein them back in at the beginning of the season because sometimes they get a little too hyped up, a little maybe too emotional about certain things. That no anxiety over that aspect of it, I guess.
I don't think so. Again, I think the coach has done a good job. I mean, we've just been trying to, get our stuff right.
You mentioned earlier this year about running into the difficulties that are kind of inherent in trying to get everybody to do things your way in the first year, and maybe it doesn't always look the way you want it to yet. In that regard, though, in terms of how they approach each opponent each week, how have you thought they've fared throughout the year?
I just think everything's work in progress, and so each week does it look a little bit more like we want it to. And I think that's a really hard thing to do. I mean, this is a long, grinding, grueling season. I mean, we've been out this for quite a while. We're only halfway there. And so that's why it keeps coming back to us, how we prepare. And, I know on Saturday night we're going to have good energy level. I mean, do we have it on Monday? Do we have it on Tuesday when all the really hard work's done? So it all feels the same from practice to the games.
What's the biggest difference with your defense now and a month ago, say, against Eastern Washington?
I think I just think that they maybe understand a little bit more. We got a lot of banked reps in the vault, and they kind of understand a little bit more. I mean, I think each week I'm always curious to say, well, we'll see how we hold up this week, and this week is no different. I mean, with this offense, we'll be challenged like we haven't been challenged yet, so we'll see.
We talked about it at the time, but were there a couple of concepts or things, tweaks that you guys made specifically after that Eastern game and some of the things they were able to do? Obviously, it seems like a similar, obviously, style and the dual threat quarterback.
Well, I think it's a different style. I mean, they got a running quarterback, and these guys run the ball, but they can throw it. Eastern just threw it. So I think it's much different, which I think is much more challenging, actually. When you can have that balanced attack, and that's the thing that they've done so well is, if you're able to take something away, they can go to some other stuff in a hurry. And, they just do a good job of sticking to their plan, and eventually they get things going. And so we just got to hang in there.
You guys obviously practice tempo, run tempo a lot of the time. I mean, do you feel like you have to give your defense maybe more better looks with that, in this type of week? Or, it's not something you can necessarily just change in 1 week, but...
I think we see it every single day since the start of spring ball. So, what we don't see is a team that huddles up and takes their time. And, again, that's not going to be the factor. It's, can we defend them? Can we tackle their fast guys? Can we, get pressure and actually tackle the quarterback? Those will be the questions that will be answered.
Do you ever have your ones go against your ones in practice?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, and the more that our styles are similar, the better that is. So that helps us.
Done any more or less of that this week, or has that been kind of standard?
It's been pretty standard. It's kind of been, the same each week. And, I think our scout teams do a good job, but we get enough ones-on-ones. And what's nice is if you don't, even when you go ones-on-ones or, trying to get some more experienced guys in there, you don't have to hold up cards if we run similar type stuff. So, but everybody's going to have wrinkles. It's never, hey, this is really, we're the same. Everybody's got their different styles.
Mm-hmm. Josh Perkins, did you ever get more clarity on that? And then going into Saturday, second thing.
Yeah, second half we'll get him. It's an NCAA rule. If they review it and they say it's targeting, then you can't go back and overturn it later.
And how difficult is that for a guy? And both for him just to, kind of get ready for half, and then do you sort of in terms of the game planning stuff, do you have to sort of do some things differently there?
You know, I mean, we just count on him not being there the first half, and then we get him in the second half and go from there. I mean, you feel bad for, you know, anybody that has to sit out. I mean, you work all year long, and you only get so many opportunities, and to miss a half is hard.
Have you noticed teams, I mean, Marcus Mariota has been such a fixture on the scene for a few years now. Have you noticed teams trying different things and maybe what's been effective against him from time to time?
Well, there hasn't been a lot that's been effective. I mean, that's the one thing that jumps out. I mean, when you're going against really good players, great players, they're going to make plays. I mean, even when you have things like covered or defended, you know, good players make plays. I mean, I can't tell you how many times you see, oh, there's a defender there, and a back makes you miss or pulls through, and it's a big play. And so, you know, that's what happens a lot. I mean, he's an accurate thrower, he's elusive, knows what they're doing, and so that's why a guy like that's going to make plays, and you just got to line up, and hopefully you can create something down the road.
It sure seems like the difference between what happened at Arizona and happened at UCLA, a lot of people are placing a lot of the success last weekend to getting Jake Fisher back, the left tackle. Maybe the comfort level that Marcus has with him protecting his back. I mean, can one guy on the offensive line make such a difference that way?
I think when your lines play well, you know, it's always about making that quarterback successful. And so it starts with those guys. He gets a little bit more time, and the run game's a little better. You know, things happen a little bit better for the quarterback.
And I know there was a huge talking point at the beginning of the season. You guys are the only staff that's kind of playing catch-up.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the way the team played on Saturday that we can kind of dispense with that, or do you feel like you're always in catch-up mode this year?
I mean, you know, I don't look too far ahead. But if you're going to talk about those things, I think about next year in terms of like all the stuff that we've talked to and the guys that we have back will have heard this a lot of times. You know, just how we just do the basic things, and so we can go a lot faster. But it's, you know, that's the beauty of coaching. It really is. I mean, you're just teaching, and it's, you know, it's a struggle a lot of ways, but it's like that's what we like to do, and it's satisfying when the kids get it and make progress. And you know, there's just no substitute for experience within what we're doing, and that just comes with time and reps.
I think you described your run game as maybe adequate earlier this week. And what would you like to see more there? Specifically, what do you need to do more? I mean,
good.
Good.
I like to describe it as good. No, I like our, you know, I think our O-line to keep guys covered up a little bit more, and you know, give our backs a chance to maybe break some arm tackles, and you know, just take the next step there. Now it's going to be really hard. I mean, this is a very good defensive line. So all these things we'd like to see, you know, the opponent changes and strengths and weaknesses changes, and so it's going to be much more of a challenge this week than it even was last week.
You guys obviously handled the road test last week really well, but this is a different type of environment. I mean,
Everything's different about this week. I mean, we'll just see. That's why it's just about us. You know, we know we got a big challenge from the stadium, the crowd, to everything, and so we just got to handle our business.
Any better luck for Ben Riva this week?
No better luck for Ben. So we'll see. I mean, hopefully, same old luck he's been having.
So he won't play then?
I don't think so. No.
okay.